Good morning. Good morning, all. Just waiting for 30 more seconds for everybody to come in from outside. That Dubai has now a new airport. The Al Maktoum International Airport started working today. It's close by here, and it's intended to handle 150 million passengers by the year 2020. That's a lot of cafe lattes, I can tell you. If you heard the news also, you might have heard that some of the countries have switched back their clocks to winter timing. So please bear this in mind if you're calling home. The UAE does not change the timing, but the difference between Dubai and the UK now is 4 hours starting today. All right, let's get going, but I'd like to remind everyone that at the end of every break session, we will have some more gifts to give away. So please make sure to be in the room after every break, the coffee break, lunch break, and the afternoon coffee break. And please make sure to have your tickets with you with the numbers. So please don't forget that. There are plenty of sessions taking place in the other rooms as well. So, and they are all mentioned in the program that you have with you and in the schedule that you have with you. So please, if you need to attend these sessions, come to this room first for the gifts, and then you can go to the different rooms. All right, without further ado, the first thing on the program today is a panel headed by Dominique Saintville, but before that, Jan Müller, the president of FIAT IFTA, would like to say a few words. Please welcome Jan.
Good morning again. How are you? After the beautiful evening last night. I want to say a few words before the panel starts. The panel about the Save Your Archive program, and I mentioned that in my opening words already. Because today it's UNESCO's World Day for Audiovisual Heritage, and it's a very happy coincidence, or maybe not, that the FIAT IFTA community is gathered here on that specific day, the 27th of October. UNESCO World Day for Audiovisual Heritage is fought for and established in October 2005 already by National Archive representatives and strongly supported by FIAT IFTA as well from the very beginning. And this day has been celebrated ever since the beginning in 2007. This year, the theme, UNESCO's theme, is saving our heritage for the next generation. It's a very fitting theme for our FIAT IFTA community. Last year at the World Conference in London, and you might recall that we announced already this very special new initiative, what I mentioned in my opening speech as well, the Save Your Archive program from FIAT IFTA. The initiative was designed to support endangered audiovisual archives, collections worldwide, and in particular projects which aim to preserve, to digitize or valorize archive content. In May this year, we invited submissions to the program, and we received a great number of applications, which for me is a proof of the need for support like this, and it's also a proof of urgency. Here in Dubai, on the occasion of UNESCO's World Day for Audiovisual Heritage, it's my great pleasure to announce the successful recipients in this program, and I will mention them to you now. They are, first of all, the valorization project of Madagascar archives from FLA Association, the preservation project of TVR Romania called Save the Life, Romanian Revolution. The preparation of the preservation project of the film collection of the National Archives of Zimbabwe. And the fourth one, the digitization of audio recordings of the 1963-1964 trial of Nelson Mandela and the ANC leaders, conserved by the National Archives of South Africa. Our Save Your Archive program is now about to take action to save these invaluable collections. It paves the way for others to do the same, and we invite partners and sponsors to join us at the mission, which is at the heart of our FIAT IFTA vision as a networked professional organization, and we welcome your support. Now I will hand over to the manager of the Save Your Archive project, Dominique Saintville, and her team, to give an overview of the program and the selected projects. Thank you very much, and enjoy this day, please.
Well, thank you, Jan. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This session will be about the Save Your Archive program. I will start by introducing the program, its goal and resources, and how its first edition has been implemented. Then, Mette from DR, Denmark, and Theo from RTS, Switzerland, and myself again, we will give more details about 3 of the selected projects: Madagascar, Romania, and South Africa. This program shares the vision expressed by the UNESCO World Day of Audiovisual Heritage, which is about raising awareness about the value and the vulnerability of the audiovisual heritage, saving the world audiovisual heritage, but also for us take action and start by saving a few endangered archives. We have to be concrete. And this reflects what Jan has said, our vision of FIAT IFTA as a networked, united professional community. So the program, which was announced last year, is intended to support a few well-defined projects which are focused on preservation, digitization, valorization of archival content. And this we will achieve by various means, by providing professional advice, equipment, second-hand equipment. There's a lot of requests about second-hand equipment like playback machines for 3/4 or beta material, and training as well, and funding, of course. All details you can find on the page, the FIAT IFTA webpage dedicated to Save Your Archive, where you will find the guidelines of the program as well as the application template which was used this year. We will update it for next year, but more or less it will be the same organization. So the Save Your Archive program is the outcome of FIAT previous initiatives. I'm not going to make the complete history of what we have done since 2004, but I would like to report on a very successful experience of saving an endangered archive that have involved not only FIAT IFTA, but also a lot of partners. And this happened when FLA, which is an association in Madagascar in charge of preserving film and video heritage, and the project has started with the French cooperation and INA, but in March, I think, or April 2011, FLA was running out of money to pay the wages and the electricity, so they had to stop all activities. And the president of FLA, Monique Razafi, she alerted the FIAT EC, and she came to the Torino conference 2 years ago. And at the Torino conference, we could organize a partnership with FIAT IFTA, the Organization of Francophonie, INA, ORTN, which is the Niger television, and Memnon. And we could gather the necessary resources to relaunch the activity and secure a sustainable development for this association. At the London conference, they reported the progress made, and more progresses have been made so far, and you will get more information about it with Theo, because it is one of the projects which have been selected for this edition of Savior Archive. So what are our resources? A special fund has been established from the FIAT IFTA regular budget, thanks to the efficient management of the FIAT IFTA income. Thank you, Roberto, our treasurer. He is also a member of our team. And so the budget which was announced was 40,000 euros, 40,000 euros, but as we had a very good project and a little more money, we could spend a little more, and the budget for this first edition is 65,000 euros. Well, thank you, Roberto, for that. And so another important resource is the team. So the initial team was from Mette, Roberto, and Theo, and me. And we have also included Brit Dooley. Brit, she is here, hello. And you know her, she was the former General Secretary of FIAT IFTA, and she is from RT Ireland. And also we have the very useful and helpful advice from the INA team. INA has a lot of experience in cooperation projects, in assessing archives, and in project management as well. And so we have Jean Varra for the technical part, Camille Martin, and Jean-Gabriel Minel from the INA collection department. So what have we done since London? We have issued a call for project in May. We have received 12 applications. We have assessed the projects in Paris on 27th of September. And we have made a pre-selection, and so now you know the result and the outcome of this call for project. So next month, we are going to sign the agreement with the applicants. And also, each project will be followed up by a volunteer, a FIAT volunteer, probably from our team. So we can provide advice, and we can make sure that they have no big problems, and that they will be able to report back to the next conference what they have done, how they have used the money, and what sound or images they can show to the conference that have been saved according to this project. A very important point that we have had a lot of discussion how did we select the projects? We had two sets of criteria. One was about the collection, one was about the project. About the collection, vulnerability, of course, the significance of the content of the collection which is presented, accessibility, and very important is copyright. We cannot support a program when the applicant is not the holder of the copyright. This is impossible. Regarding the project, it is very important to note that we have not much money. We are not the European Commission. We have not so much money. We are just a professional association. So the project has to be very specific on one part of their collection and on one goal to achieve. And this is important because when we have received application to make a complete digitization program for a large collection, this is not possible. We cannot manage that. So it has to be specific, it has to be feasible in 1 year time. Of course, cost and budget, the impact that it will have on further projects for the same archive. If it is supported by the organization applying for the grant, are there partners also in the same project, other partners than FIAT IFTA and sponsors? Is a good model that can be replicated in another environment, and also diversity of the projects in terms of country, type of organization, and activity. For instance, Madagascar, Africa, FLA is an independent association. It's about valorization. Romania, TVR is a public television of Romania, and it's a preservation and digitization project. It's a historical collection, the revolution of '89. Maybe some of you remember the live broadcast that we have seen at that time. The fourth one is South Africa. It's a national archive, and it's about digitization of sound recordings. It's about the Nelson Mandela trial. And the last one, Zimbabwe, it's still Africa. It's a national archive, and we will help them to prepare their preservation program, because they have a little film collection and they need probably some advice to make the right choices. And so we have had the good news that a decision was taken at the last EC meeting here in Dubai. So we will have a second edition for the next year. It will be more or less the same agenda, the one we had this year, call for project in April or May, and so on. And also a budget allocation has been decided. It's 40,000 euros. So now I will leave the floor to Madagascar and Theo. He's going to present the first of the projects which have been selected and will be supported. He has just to make a little change. So you will have a nice conversation. Well, okay, you do it.
Hello, good morning all. I thought, excuse me. I thought for you it's more interesting not to hear or to see myself, even if the quality of the image will not be so good. I think the really important persons in this project are the protagonists, are the owner of the archives, who have taken very nice initiatives to safeguard the audiovisual heritage. So I had a telephone call with the president of the FLA organization, and we will look how it runs. Have pleasure.
Bonsoir, bienvenue, même si c'est seulement en virtuel, à l'Assemblée de FIAT IFTA.
Bonsoir, et puis heureusement que nous avons la technologie qui nous permet quand même de raccourcir les distances. Et puis bonsoir ou bonjour aussi à tous les participants de cette réunion de FIAT IFTA, à qui je souhaite une belle réussite. J'espère que la climatisation marche bien, parce qu'il doit faire chaud là-bas. Mais sinon, bon travail pour le slogan, qui est le slogan de notre association, que la mémoire vive.
Merci beaucoup pour ce chaleureux salutation. La première question que j'aimerais bien vous poser, vous avez déjà gagné des prix pour les meilleurs projets. On entend beaucoup dans la communauté des archivistes de l'audiovisuel du Madagascar et surtout de la FLA j'aimerais bien savoir de votre côté, est-ce qu'il y a une raison particulière pour laquelle Madagascar est tellement sensible pour l'audiovisuel? Et puis peut-être vous pouvez aussi m'expliquer un peu le rôle qu'a FLA dans ce processus.
Alors, à vrai dire, comme dans beaucoup de domaines, la conscience du grand public n'est pas automatique. Il faut toujours qu'il y ait des gens, des groupes, des organisations qui sont plus conscients, qui soient un peu en avance dans cette conscience pour faire bouger les choses. Donc nous, ce qu'on a fait, on a été 5 fondateurs de l'association au départ, mais la particularité des fondateurs, c'est que c'était des professionnels de l'audiovisuel, donc professionnels de la télévision, de la radio, du son, de la photo, du cinéma. Donc des gens qui avions déjà à l'époque 20 ans ou 30 ans de métier. Et donc c'est ce noyau-là qui s'est formé pour monter le projet FLA, pour les archives. Et petit à petit, à partir du moment où on présente au public une idée à laquelle ce public n'a pas pensé forcément au départ, elle s'y intéresse, le public s'y intéresse, et donc FLA a pu bénéficier d'une bonne audience et d'un bon départ dans le public en général, et puis même auprès des institutions gouvernementales.
Merci beaucoup. Je trouve très intéressant ce que vous dites tout d'abord, c'est l'expérience. Je crois on peut dire les personnes qui ont de l'expérience dans le métier, avec une certaine maturité, peut-être ils se rendent compte qu'il n'y a pas seulement le produit nouveau qui vaut, mais pour avoir un produit nouveau de valeur, il faut pouvoir s'appuyer aussi sur la mémoire. La dernière question que je vous pose, même si vous avez déjà donné des indications, ce qui nous intéresse beaucoup et ce que nous trouvons très intéressant dans votre projet, c'est qu'il y a aussi la préoccupation de la valorisation, de trouver le public. Et je trouve intéressant que vous dites, d'un part, c'est vrai, vous avez déjà un beau site Internet, mais pour trouver vraiment du public, il faut aller avec des images télévisées. C'est ça votre projet. Est-ce que le public, les gens de la rue, ils commencent à se rendre compte que là, il y a un patrimoine?
Oui, parfaitement. Nous, un an après avoir créé l'association, parce que c'est une association qui est totalement indépendante, donc c'est pas un organisme gouvernemental, c'est une association indépendante. Un an après, déjà, la fondation de l'association, on a pu célébrer la journée du patrimoine audiovisuel. Et chaque année, on fait un événement. Et c'est là qu'on s'est aperçu que le public s'intéresse, et surtout ce qui est très intéressant, c'est le public jeune et même les enfants. Certains enfants viennent par classe voir le lieu où nous faisons la numérisation. Donc aujourd'hui, effectivement, nous avons Internet avec le site. Mais vous savez, à Madagascar, Internet, c'est 1,5% le taux de pénétration, donc c'est très bas, et il faut trouver un médium comme la télévision qui est quand même vue dans tout Madagascar et pour un large public. Et le projet vise à produire des émissions à partir d'images d'archives de manière régulière sur la télévision nationale. Et pour nous, l'appel de FIAT à travers Sales Archive est vraiment le bienvenu, parce que ça correspond parfaitement à notre besoin aujourd'hui d'avoir une petite unité de vidéo très simple, mais qui nous permet de programmer régulièrement des productions de films à partir d'archives, mais par ailleurs d'inviter dans ces émissions des gens qui sont des spécialistes de domaines touchés par les archives. Ça peut être l'urbanisme, ça peut être l'industrie, ça peut être l'artisanat, mais appeler des gens, des experts qui connaissent bien ce domaine et qui peuvent avoir des interventions, des commentaires très riches pour que justement cette mémoire qu'on rend de nouveau vivante serve à éclairer un peu le présent et pourquoi pas le futur.
Merci beaucoup. Je crois vraiment dans notre groupe du FIAT, on est tous très très contents de vos projets. D'un part parce que ça nous permet vraiment de manière très efficace
I can stop myself. I think it was legitimate that there was a little moment in French language because it's FIAT IFTA. But maybe not everybody understood what he said. He spoke about the situation in Madagascar. There is a very good activities about audiovisual heritage, and he said it's important that there is a group of responsible people who are conscious about this heritage and who take initiatives. The project of the group FLA, it is an independent organization, it's not a state organization. The project is the one to valorize now this heritage that has been digitized, and at the very beginning they made a very nice website. You see the site, it's really well done, but we like very much that they are sensible on their audience, and they say in Madagascar they have only 1.5% of audience on internet, but they have a very large television public. So they asked FIAT IFTA to help them to have equipment to produce television programs about archive, about audiovisual heritage. That's it. Thank you very much.
Well, now Mette will talk about the Romania project. Is Irina from TVR in the room? No? Okay, come. Well, it's a pity she's not here. But anyway, we will explain the project, which is a very nice project. If we can connect the computer.
Okay, I can get started. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'm actually very happy to be standing here and to be part of this group that have been given this job to try to find collections that need help. And I'm also very proud to say that we actually had 12 applicants without really doing any PR for this. And I think we were all pretty surprised that we got that many on the first run, and also that they were all generously in need for help. There's a lot of collections out there that are very important and that are in a terrible condition and that doesn't have any means to work with this material themselves. So there's a lot of need for this, and I think we should all be proud of ourselves that we have collectively been able to put aside some money to help some of these collections. And of course, thank you to Jan for improving of this. One of the projects of that collection is from the Romanian television. Just to remind you all, the collection is a collection of what happened in Romania in the winter of '89. And most of the former Eastern European country went through major change. And these changes not only affected Romania in this case, but of course the whole world, and the way the world suddenly, the division of the world, the way we look at the world, the way we talk about the world today actually happened here. And Romania, and especially, was one of the places where it was quite dramatic. It was also, as far as I remember, one of the last one that changed. And we all followed this event live on television. And this collection is exactly that. It's a collection of about 400 hours of footage, and whereas 100 of them is live television. It's a very important collection of that time and for all of us, and it's in a terrible stage. As Dominique just said, we had invited Miss Irina, who's the head of the archive, to come here. I hope she just overslept and nothing else happened to her. She is here, but somewhere. I hope that she will come in and we can at least tell her the good news. She will be very happy with this. I talked to her yesterday, and this collection really needs help. It's in a very bad stage. It's mainly on Betacam and Pneumatic, as far as I remember. Maybe there's also a few films. I can't quite remember, but the storage facilities is terrible. The tapes are being, reused, and they don't have any means to make copies, and therefore they're just being run and run and run, and it really is a collection that needs help. The other good thing about this collection is that most of us, we run into rights issues. But in Romania, because before actually the revolution, there was, there's no laws that tell what the rights is. So they have somehow decided that whatever happened before, there's no rights owners. So this collection, we can all be very happy to and look forward to actually share this collection with the Romanian television and the Romanian people, because Irina will actually put this collection on the different websites when it's digitalized. And I think that's a very important part of this whole discussion. We can give means to restore and preserve collections, which of course is the first step. But if there's no way of make it accessible, then what good is that? So let me just run through, why did we actually pick this as one of the collection that we decided to support this year. First of all, as I said, it's a very important collection for all of us. It's in a terrible stage. Again, it will be made accessible, and the impact of the world, I've already talked about that. But the last thing I want to just address, and that's mostly to one of you sit out there and say, oh, I have a collection, I would like to apply for a grant next year, and that is certainly possible. But one of the things that we found when we looked through all the application was that the importance of the application form itself. It's much easier to grant somebody money when the application is, as I try to write there, very specific as you can be, that there's some measurability in there, that, numbers and time and, some kind of quantification of the project. Ambitious, of course, but also realistic. Some of the applications we got were wonderful projects, but maybe there was too ambitious in terms of, it didn't really match the amount of money that we could actually come up with. And then, of course, the time that there is a beginning and a start, so we can see the result within a reasonable time frame. So just to you that are thinking of applying next year, and we really welcome that, be careful and think about these things when you make your application. So I think that's it for that.
So let's see now the South African project. So this is a project which has been presented by the National Archives of South Africa. NASA is the name of the National Archive, and NFVSA is the name of the audiovisual department of the National Archive. And this project is about saving the sound recordings of the Rivonia trial. I will explain what is a Rivonia trial. So this is the building of the audiovisual department. in Pretoria. And so this department, they are preserving, they hold a collection of 8,000 dictabelt. We will explain what are dictabelt. They are sound recordings made with dictaphone. They were used, this carrier was used to record proceedings during court cases in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. They were used, these carriers, because you could not reuse them, so you could not erase them also. And one of the most well-known collection and case is the Rivonia trial. Rivonia is a suburb of Johannesburg, where the African National Congress leaders were arrested in a farm. Nelson Mandela was arrested a year before. They were charged with acts of sabotage. The trial took place in Pretoria from November 63 to June 64. And it was then when Nelson Mandela went to jail. But it also is a turning point in the struggle against the apartheid. The material we have these are court audio recordings. There are 550 dictabels. Each one has a duration of about 30 minutes. But the problem is that there are very few dictaphones that can play back this material. They have no dictaphones to replay them in South Africa, and there are not so many in Europe as well. Only 7 dictabels have been digitized in 2001 by the British Library. And you will hear the end of the final address of Nelson Mandela. I guess it is from the British Library, but I could find it on YouTube. So it's really a fantastic collection. It is part of the South African collective memory. It has been listed in the UNESCO's Memory of the World Register in 2007. This project is part of the commemoration of the Rivonia trial, 50 years now. But so far, the collection is not accessible. And this is pictures of what a dictabel look like. It's this plastic belt. And these are pictures of dictaphones that were used to record them. And these are the dictabels of the South African National Archives. So there's a plastic belt. Inside there's a description of the content, and they are preserved in envelopes, and the envelopes are put in folders like the one you see on the right. So the general goal of the project is to digitize and to provide access to these records. Of course, it's to preserve this material for posterity. And in the longer term, the National Archive of South Africa, they want to save the complete dictabel collection, the 8,000. The specific request which has been made to FIAT IFTA is to start the digitization of the Rivonia records by supporting a first sub-collection, about 100 or a little more dictabels. We have not the money to make the 500, it's a pity. So also a very strong point in this project is that the South African Archive are talking with INA to have a big support, expertise and support to digitize and restore the sound content. So already There has been, I think it was in June, there has been a digitization and restoration tests which have been done by INA and a French service provider. This service provider has built this machine, the archaeophone that you can see on the image, and they can, it's interesting because they can adjust the diameter of the roll to play back these dictabels. It's a machine inspired by the equipment to play back cylinders. It's an adaptation. So the preparation of the documents will be made by the South Africans, identification in English so we can understand the content because the descriptions are both in English and Afrikaans. The digital preservation will be made in France, and after the preservation, the digitization, we have the restoration process, documentation and valorization process, which will be made jointly by South African and its partners. So to finish our session, I would like to let you hear Nelson Mandela. He has made on 20th of April of 1964. He has made a final address. It takes, I think it was 3 hours, but these are the last words of his address. And if Tobias would like to come with me, he is a master of YouTube and the computers. We will hear it. It is taken from YouTube.
I have fought against white domination. I have fought.
Maybe you have to refresh it. No, doesn't work? Well, we will try. Oh, try again the link from the diaporama. If you go back to the
I have fought
okay.
against white domination, and I have fought against black domination. I have cherished the idea of a democratic and free society in which all persons will live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an idea for which I hope to live for and to see realized. But my Lord, if it needs be, it is an idea for which I am prepared to die.
That's it. It was the end of his final address. So, if you are interested in this program, you are welcome to come to us at coffee break. If you want to be a partner and to support one of these projects, please come to us as well. And I hope that you will be interested not only to present your own project, but also to find endangered archive who would be interested, and you are welcome to help and to inform them about this program and the way that FIAT IFTA can help them. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Time, right on time, absolutely, 100%. All right. The next presentation is by Mr. Francis Matthew from Gulf News. Please welcome Francis.
Thank you. Thank you to the experts and good morning. My name is Francis Matthew. I'm the editor-at-large of Gulf News. We are the largest newspaper here in Dubai and in the Gulf. And what I'd like to do today is talk about how we struggled with our archive and what we're doing now in terms of getting it digitized and making it more accessible. And then also talk about a specific project, which is why I was invited to come to talk today, where we used the archive to produce a book called Building a Nation, which is to celebrate the 40 years of the UAE. We are, we're the largest paper. We've been in existence since 1978. So since 1978, we've had our own reporters, our own photographers. And we have expanded over time to include a newspaper called Express, a collection of magazines, and several supplements, 250 a year. So the point of that is that we have a lot of material which is our own copyright, so we own that. We have today about 850 images, 850,000 images, 700,000 pages, and they divide down into about over 3.5 million articles. So over the initial period, like so many of us, we stored this in hard copy. We had physical archives of these. The pictures were deteriorating, and the original newspaper was also getting frayed around the edges. We had one master copy, but that was used. Eventually, we had to stop it being used, and so even internally, it was difficult to access to our own archives, because the danger of letting this thing out or getting it back, even internally, was becoming a problem. We had, separately, a variety of different storage devices when we started using digital photography in the 90s. So we had some floppy disks, we had zip drives, optical disks, and CDs and DVDs. In fact, when our previous speaker was talking about the dictabyte problem, how to get at it, we had a problem with the optical disks, which were given to us by AP, and we discovered we couldn't read them after a few years. So we had these optical disks, but we physically didn't have the machine to find the pictures. So in 2000, we moved to a new building and also started the process of becoming more formally digitalized. We used a company called Televisual as our storage application, and we had some success with that. We then shifted on, and we were using a new production system, Quark, and QDMS was our production system, which unfortunately also became our storage mechanism for the live pictures and pages. By 2004, we started with yet another company called Comyan, and we then started the long process of centralizing. At this stage, we were in some confusion. We had a combination of the old CDs and DVDs. We had Televisual, QDMS, and Comyan. And separately, obviously, we also had the hard copy stuff up to 2000. So all our material from 78 to 2000 was in hard copy. And, as I say, deteriorating. The pages were getting frayed, but the pictures themselves were beginning to fade. You can't keep them forever. Particularly some of the early pictures which were sent to us by the agencies with their separations already separated. So we were getting some very strange results. We worked with a company from Bombay called 9 Stars. They came and we had 4 people who we basically locked in our basement, and they worked away, working through our entire hard copy archive. It took them 9 months, and that was a major task. They built a database of content from 78 to 2000, which included 50,000 images, 400,000 pages, and 2 million articles. These are included in the numbers I told you earlier. This is our hard copy, and the other is what we've got till today, including this number. This process was not without its pain. The physical business of scanning and storing was an issue. We had to buy the storage and work out how we were going to store. Eventually, we just stored, and we used an internet browser to store this material. So this is on yet another arrangement, what we call the historical archive, which is not in any of those softwares I mentioned earlier. The other issue we had was keywords. Which keyword do you use, what do you use, how do you define it? And we were looking at the entire newspaper. When we decided to go for keywords, we found we had hundreds and hundreds. So we abandoned keywords and went for free text search. And we're trusting that PDF technology will get better, and so that one can search the PDFs of the pages for text more and more. That is indeed happening. So now we have this variety of different stored articles and pages, and we search by word. Anyway, it is a problem, because if you're looking for something on the environment and the article happens to just mention water and preserving resources, it doesn't actually specifically say environment. So when we search, we have to use a lot of different words. We've now got 4 applications. We've got televisual, QDMS, Comyan, and what we call HAD, the Historical Archive, which is the one stored. We're slowly moving all these into Comyan, and it's a major task as we're transferring everything into one database. And I think that it'll finish in a year or two. And it's one of, after that is done, we may then start to think about making it more accessible to the outside. Because we've got these 4 separate applications, even for staff, it's quite difficult to find our way around the databases. And so while we've stored them, and we know that we've got this stuff digitized and there, it's not so easy to find it. And so we still have to go to the library staff, ask them to look for this or that, and they do a better job. Even when we look for it ourselves, we get fed up with them and try and do it. We find ourselves that they are much quicker still. So our next task is to centralize the whole thing on one single application, which in our case will be Comyan, and then use Comyan to improve its search terms and make it more accessible. With that, we'll then open it to the staff, and then there's a much more tricky business of opening it to the public. At the moment, this is a full database, which is our own resource. And in the UAE, where there has been very light public record, our kind of resource is more important than it would be in other countries, because the governments and the public records offices are firstly very young, and secondly, they themselves are going through the same process as us. So this kind of archive in the UAE is significant. It's important as one of the few places where you can find what's going on, a history of it. Having got the pictures together, we then were working out how to use them. Now, we use them at the newspaper, it's a resource, but we also, in order to, when the country celebrated its 40th anniversary in, blimey, where have I gone? To 11. Forgive me. In 11, we celebrated the 40 years of the UAE, and we realized then that we had enough images to tell the story. And that's partly the power of the image, that here we're sitting in the Marina Address Hotel. It's hard to imagine that only 10 years ago this was sand. Okay, it was a bit messed up at the time, it was being built. 15 years ago, this was raw beach, with a few villas on the edge here. And the road behind us, going down to Abu Dhabi, was single track, double track then, but only 20 years ago it was single track. So the speed of the way the country has developed can really only be told using images. And so we used the images and decided to do a coffee table picture book called Building a Nation. This had several interesting side effects, apart from the project itself. We produced the book and had to start looking for the pictures. And then the next task was the captions. As I said, we had problems with the keywords and all that, but the captions we had in the newspaper were very, very factual. When I myself and Najla Arostamani, 2 of us edited this book. And when we were developing the pages, I had a walkthrough and asked people to come and look at some pictures and said, what do you think? And they said, well, so what? Why is this interesting? So I then had to realize we had to reshape the book to tell the story more than simply using the access in the pictures. Just to make the point, I'll show you some pictures from our archive which we've used in the book. This is Abu Dhabi in the 1950s. This is Dubai in the 1950s. This is where we are now. But actually, we're off to the right along Jumeirah and along a bit further. But this is the creek. Where you went yesterday, I'll come to it later. So it's moved from this in the 50s to today. Now, the 50s, that's my lifetime. So in living memory, it's gone from here to where we are now. And it's quite hard to get that change without seeing these kind of images and telling that kind of story. This is some people crossing into Abu Dhabi across the causeway at Maqta. There's now 2 bridges, but that fort is still there. This is the White Fort in Abu Dhabi, where the ruler lived and worked from. And the joy of using this kind of archive is that one can link then and now. Obviously, to do that, to take the now is very easy, so you need to find the then. Here we have the picture of then. Here's the fort in the 70s. It's the same place. We couldn't get the aeroplanes to hover in exactly the same angle, but we tried. So here it is in the desert in the 50s, sand around. Here you can begin to see the network being built of the roads around it in the 70s. And by 2008, here it is, it's been turned into the National Documentation Center. And so you can see very quickly how the country has moved forward. And that was one of the power of using this kind of collecting of images. This is a typical scene in the 50s. Here's some Bedouin leaving the oasis, Shah oasis in the Liwa oasis. This now is one of Abu Dhabi's larger oil fields. So these guys heading off on their trek, right now, the same place is producing a substantial part of the world's oil. It hadn't yet been found at that stage. Here's Sheikh Shakhbout, the ruler of Abu Dhabi from a very long period, from the 20s right through to 1960s. He's talking to an oil man. Doubtless they're discussing what they wanted to discuss. At the time, Sheikh Shakhbout was more interested in their drilling capacity to find water. He wasn't so convinced about oil, but he definitely knew what the value of water was. Later, of course, he discovered the value of oil as well. Here we have the ruler of Dubai, second from the right, Sheikh Rashid. By now, we're into the 60s, and this is the beginnings of the looking for the oil. We had a problem at Gulf News with this sort of work because we obviously started in 1978. So when we did 40 years of the UAE, 78 onwards was okay. We had those hundreds of thousands of images which we could choose from. Pre-78, we were running around all over the place trying to find pictures. Our national news agency, WAM, while it does a good job day by day, is pretty hopeless, and that's a polite word, in terms of archiving. And we've worked with them to try and find their archives. We've tried to go through the official routes, and we really couldn't succeed. So there's a huge mass of images there, because they have unique access to what's going on, which has gone begging. So Najla Arostamani and myself were thinking, where do we go? We did go to the obvious places. Each emirate in the UAE has its own museums. So we went to the museums and said, can you help? Because they've also been doing some of this work for their own emirates. We went to some of the centers in the country, like Ustaz Ali here, your next speaker, and down in the National Documentation Center, and we talked to other people who might have collected pictures. As a publishing company, we had a problem because we were going to print these, and we needed to know that the copyright was clear. And that was difficult in some of these government circumstances where it was there for research purpose, but it was not there for publication. So it was difficult sometimes to get a clear write-off on ownership issues. We started talking to some of the old families who've been around here. So this business of gathering images became a big deal. But who was taking pictures in the 50s and the 60s? Did they keep the pictures? It was very time-consuming, and there's a big resource there still. We tracked down some diplomats, and some of the pictures were from diplomats who were around here in the 70s and 60s and 70s. Then I realized that who were the big corporates here? And they were the oil companies. So I went around oil companies. I was ringing Exxon, Mobil, trying to find where anybody had got any resource. They all say they have fantastic archives. They may have, but it was difficult to access them. So I was ringing Exxon Mobil in Houston, I was calling the Gulbenkians in Lisbon, and trying to find other people who had got them. And frankly, we were facing a major issue, as the book seemed to be about 3 pictures before 78, and then would suddenly go very heavy. And then fortunately, I called British Petroleum, BP, as one on the list. And they told me to call to Warwick University. Now, BP have done a fantastic job. They've collected images and film from all their employees with copyright release, and they have a free archive. So a large number of the pictures you see, these early pictures, are actually sourced from BP. So I'm picking up the phone, and I've been talking to archives here, there, and everywhere. Suddenly, this lady in Warwick says, yes, yes. I said, pardon? You said yes. Yes, yes, what do you want? We can send you 200, 300 thumbnails tonight. I thought, my God, Christmas has come. We're here. We've done it. They came. They were the right kind of image, and also we could use them. And so these early pictures here are all from the BP archives. BP sent someone here in the 50s, and that's not this one, that's ours. And so these early ones are from BP, and that's why one can see people like this when they're working at Abmorocco off in the offshore fields in Abu Dhabi. This is an interesting story, this guy. You just think it's a guy until you read the caption, and then I had to call the people at BP to check. This man was a pearl fisher, the traditional Gulf industry of going out on the dhows, down to get the oysters, checking for pearls, and so he was a pearl diver. He transferred his skills from pearl fishing to oil, and he was working offshore with the cabling and all that. So once you know what's happening and the caption information is there, the story comes alive. We're still trying to find the guy, actually, to do an interview, but it's difficult to track him down. We then have this wonderful resource of aerial pictures. Again, in order to tell the story in the UAE, one has to have buildings, and it's about development, physical development. It's hard to tell the story of education or of personal development, which is as important. But physically, one can do it. So this is the creek in Dubai. It's still being dredged to the left in 1967. You can see the sandbanks are still there. Maktoum Bridge has just been built, which I think you probably will have to go across to the airport. The airport is top left of this image. By now, you can see this is the same image as the early one of Dubai, and you can see the place has grown hugely in 65. You have stories like this, where Dubai started to build its oil tanks, the two vast khazan, the two vast storage tanks, which were built by Chicago Bridge and Iron, and then rolled off and sunk into the sea. And these big things, which are as tall as skyscrapers, have no bottom. They're open to the sea. The top is where the oil goes, and so you pump the oil in, oil floats, it pushes the water out. A tanker comes, sucks out the oil, water comes back in. And to this day, Dubai's water is in these tanks. Sorry, Dubai's oil, I should say, is in these tanks. Sheikh Rashid talking to Sheikh Zayed. At this stage in the 70s, they were talking about how to produce the federation. Britain in 1966 had said it would leave east of Suez. So suddenly, the Emirates here, the Emirate rulers here, had a real problem because they were under a sort of broad-speaking overview, but suddenly Britain said it would leave. So they were running around a federation of 9, of 6, of different numbers of federations. The important discussions were going on about how to keep going afterwards. And at this stage, some of the pictures we found from the British diplomats were very useful. This picture is from WAM. This picture is from a British diplomat who was there at the time. And from the left, you can see the rulers of Dubai, Ras Al Khaimah, Sharjah, and Abu Dhabi in close consultation as they consider how to form a new country in 1968. The country was formed in 1971. Here, the rulers of Dubai on the left and Abu Dhabi on the right are talking with the ruler of Qatar in the middle, who I think in this picture, he had just decided not to join the UAE. At one stage, Qatar and Bahrain were going to be part of the Federation of 9. But eventually the Federation formed, and here are the 6 founding Emirates, with the 7th joined a month or 2 later. And in here you can have these fun pictures. Here's Zayed, Sheikh Zayed, the ruler of Abu Dhabi, now the president of the UAE, deciding what the country's flag should be. Out developing. I'm going to fast track through this. I can give you a very long story about the UAE here. Ah, this is a good picture. This is Jebel Ali. This is Sheikh Rashid with Sheikh Zayed looking at a model of Jebel Ali. When Jebel Ali, the biggest port at the time, the largest hole in the world at the time, a few years ahead of this, was still a sketch on a drawing board. And so there's the sketch of Jebel Ali with the model boats going in and out. This is the constitutional crisis of '79 when the Federal National Assembly in Abu Dhabi. The creek again. The creek at the time, the creek was an industrial area. There on the right, you can see the McDermott Yard, where they're building these great, huge oil jackets and other things. Now, that's where the Chamber of Commerce and Emirates National Bank, Emirates MBD, have their headquarters. It's part of downtown central Dubai. But at the time, it was still, that area was a little out of town. This is the beginnings of Sheikh Zayed Road. Again, this particular picture comes from a private individual, someone who gave it to us. Safa Park. This is Sheikh Zayed Road. This is the road along which you've all driven to the address hotel is slightly on the left. We'll get to it later. All the towers you saw were on exactly this site in 1981. The GCC was formed, Emirates took off. They built a golf course in the middle of the desert. They built the first of Dubai's several iconic buildings. Sheikh Zayed passed on. They had elections. Now, here, again, I come back to how we use these images. Here, this is a sandpit off Sheikh Zayed Road. In itself, not particularly interesting, except you can see some of Sheikh Zayed Road. The next picture is Dubai International Financial City, DIFC. That is the same place as this. 97, 10. So a difference of 3 years. And this is now the heart of the Dubai financial area. Again, without the collection of images, without doing the gathering together, it's very hard to tell the story of how fast this stuff happens. Ah, this is where you were. I think, were you at the Armani last night? Yes, okay. The Armani is in the middle of Burj Khalifa, which is here. Here it is being built. We've all got pictures of it standing finished, and it's that wonderful silvery spike going up into the sky. Here it is being built. It's a little stump. Well, not such a little stump, frankly. It's a big stump. But it's hollow. They're still not built. Around it there, the fountains you can see at the back is still a bit of a concrete sort of nightmare. And so you can see some of as it's coming together. And so again, that's only in '07. It's only a few years ago. And it really was a sort of major building site. This whole area, when I came here, was Dubai's military base, Central Military Command. It's a square area. You can still see the square there. And CMC, Central Military Command, was the army camp for the Dubai Army. So that had to be disbanded. The land was standing vacant, and Imar came in and built all this. So again, that story can be told quite quickly using these images. Then we come to the end and the ultimate approval where Hollywood came and played around on the outside of the tower. So we did this work and gathered together this book, gathering all these images together. But it had various effects thereafter. Something our previous speaker was talking about was access, finding it. Now, it's not so easy in the UAE to find a collection of images like this. And not many people knew that Gulf News had these images. After we published the book, and people found it, and thankfully they liked it, we have had many people coming to us saying, can you help us with this or that? We've got a major bid going on here to win the rights to host Expo 2020. So a lot of the companies who are helping the government tell the story of Dubai have seen our book and came rushing to us to say, can you help us with 5 or 6 images, 10, 20 images, or even some of the stories? So the marketing benefit of the book was quite a lot, just in terms of awareness of what's possible. Looking ahead, we've probably got more to do. We need to improve what we've got. We need to get it onto our one system so people can find it more easily. And frankly, when we do, we'll find a lot of other stuff. We still have to move into that rather difficult area of film, which you're all experts at. But for us as a newspaper, we've only started doing video online very recently, and we don't archive it, so we need to get into that. And so there's a lot more to do. Meanwhile, I hope you enjoyed what I heard to say about Dubai and about Gulf News. Thank you very much indeed for listening.
Thank you very much, Francis. Are there any questions for Francis? Francis has very kindly donated 2 copies of the book that he was talking about, and those 2 copies will also be part of the gifts that we are distributing later on. So some 2 winners will be able to get 2 copies of the book. Thank you very much. All right, we're at coffee now, so we're on time. Everything is working excellent, except that the room is almost empty now. So I don't know whether people have had a little bit too much to eat or to drink last night. I don't know. But anyway, we'll meet back here at 11:25, sorry, so in 30 minutes. And please remember that as soon as we come in, we will do the draw and the raffle for some more gifts. See you later.
Yeah, you will check it in the laptops. Yes.
Sorry? Okay, we're just, I told her to ring the bell. All right, we're about to start the raffle. I hope everybody is, nobody is waiting outside. I hope everybody is coming in. I didn't hear the school bell, unfortunately, so. You did? Oh, sorry. All right, so the school bell did ring. So maybe if we can close those doors. All right, I think we're going to start with the raffle, and I'm going to ask the ladies at this table to pick up numbers. All right? Here is a good one. 483. 483. 483. All right? Yeah, can you? All right. 430. 430. 430. No? No? Okay. All right. One more. 180. 180. 180. 180. Yes, this is a good one. This must be a good one. Sorry. 369. 369. 369. 369. We're really having people, a lot of. Yes, so you should, yeah. Dig in. 27. 27. 27. Hey! Niaz. Come on. Prices are there. Yes. Okay. Here is Niaz. Yeah. Where is your ticket? Yeah. Can you take it out? All right. Niaz will get a Jabra mobile Bluetooth headset presented by Ericsson. Thank you. Oh, we have another winner, 180. Is this, here it is, okay. All right, excellent. 180 gets an iPad 2, 16 gigabytes, presented by Al Arabiya. All right. Okay, we still have 3 gifts to give. 130. 130. Yes, sir. Another winner. 130. Dorothy has the secret pull, the secret hand. Thank you. 130 will also get a Jabra mobile Bluetooth headset presented by Ericsson. Why not? 83. 83. 83. No 83. Okay. 108. 108. Going once? No. 297. 297. 297. No luck. 164. 164. 164. No? Okay, all right. Just a few more. Oh, hold on. Hold this. Are you 164? Oh, excellent. Oh, yes. I hope you like editing. This is 164? Excellent. 164 will get a Media Composer 7 presented by Avid. One last one. 177 177 177 no 185 185. This is the second time we get 185. A very unlucky person. Yesterday we pulled 185. I'd like to meet that person. 29 29 29. Okay. All right. Oh, I know what that is. I hope you like HD video cameras. Okay. 189, sorry, 29 will get a GoPro Hero 3 camera, white edition, presented by Streamport Media. All right, there we go. Thank you very much. No. Only the ones which, because these are. Those we don't put again. We only put these again because those are the ones. Yeah, that's it. All right, excellent. Thank you very much. All right, our next speaker is Mr. Ali El-Marri. Please welcome Mr. Ali El-Marri. Mr. El-Marri's presentation will be in Arabic, so for those of you who would like to listen in English, please put your headsets.
Good morning. It is a pleasure to be here with you today. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Ali El-Marri. I am the General Director of Dr. Sultan Al-Qassimi Center in Sharjah. And I would like, first of all, thank the organizer and his partner as well. And also many thanks for the distinguished guest. My presentation will be in Arabic because my Arabic is the first language, so I think the translation will be there. محاضرتنا اليوم راح تكون عن حفظ الماضي للحاضر. راح نتطرق اليوم إلى نتكلم عن دارة الدكتور سلطان القاسمي للدراسات الخليجية، وهي دارة تعنى بالأرشيف بشكل عام. أسسها صاحب السمو حاكم الشارقة في عام 2002 وافتتحت في عام 2007 للناس. تقع الدارة في المدينة الجامعية في الشارقة، وهي مدينة كبيرة جدا تشمل على الكثير من المعاهد والكليات. الدارة تعني بشكل بسيط هي المكان الخصب جدا بين الجبال، أو المكان التي تنمو فيه الأشياء دائما الجميلة في يعني بين الجبال وفيها المياه العذبة. أهداف الدارة للدارة أهداف كثيرة، منها إنها مكان إيجاد مكان في المنطقة وبشكل عام فيه مصادر التاريخ عن منطقة الخليج. أيضا من ضمن الأهداف الرئيسية للدارة هو الحفاظ على التراث الثقافي والإبداع الخاص بمنطقة الخليج، فنلاحظ هناك الصور والوثائق والخرائط بالمنطقة الخليج. أيضا تقوم الدارة بتشجيع على الاستمرار الحضاري من خلال الموجودات، تشجيع الباحثين على عمل البحوث والعلمية الموجودة في الدارة، حيث أن عندنا مقر للبحث أو ريسورس سنتر. محتويات الدارة. طبعا محتويات الدارة نحن راح نتكلم عنها، اللي هي بشكل عام كلها تعتبر من الأشياء اللي تم أرشفتها. يعني الدارة بشكل عام تعتبر أرشيف كامل ومفتوح للعامة. هناك الوثائق التصويرية، منها الخرائط والصور الفوتوغرافية النادرة لمنطقة الخليج، وكذلك الوثائق التشكيلية، منها المسكوكات والمجسمات. أيضا بالإضافة إلى الوثائق المهمة جدا اللي هي الوثائق الكتابية، المخطوطات والكتب والأفلام الوثائقية. أول قاعة عندنا قاعة الخرائط، فيها خرائط عن تاريخ منطقة الخليج كله. يعني كل منطقة الخليج هناك تجد خارطة وثائقية مهمة، وتعتبر من يعني نحن عملنا دوكيومنتيشن لكل الوثائق والخرائط اللي موجودة عندنا. وهذه جانب من الخرائط اللي موجودة، طبعا نموذج. في عندنا قاعة للحياة في الخليج، يعني تم إفراد قاعة كاملة للحياة في منطقة الخليج العربي. فنجد عندنا أندر الصور اللي موجودة تتكلم عن تاريخ الخليج العربي وعن دولة الإمارات وعن جميع إمارات الدولة، وهذه الصور تعرض للمرة الأولى وهي نادرة. يجب أن نقول أن هذه المجموعة الخاصة اللي موجودة في الدارة هي من المجموعة الخاصة لصاحب السمو الشيخ الدكتور سلطان بن محمد القاسمي، عضو المجلس الأعلى حاكم الشارجة. وهذه أيضا جانب من الحياة في الخليج. عندنا من القاعات المهمة اللي فيها توثيق للمستقبل، اللي هي قاعة الصور الفوتوغرافية لصاحب السمو. طبعا في هذه القاعة نجد أنه الجانب العلمي لصاحب السمو، نجد هناك الشهادات العلمية، منها اللي حصل عليها الدكتوراه والدكتوراه الفخرية. هذا بالإضافة إلى تكريم الجهات العلمية لصاحب السمو حاكم الشارجة. فجميع الهدايا اللي يعني قد كرم بها صاحب السمو هي موجودة في الدارة. أيضا مثل ما تعرفون صاحب السمو شخصية مرموقة، فهو حاكم، فطبعا لقاءات كثير بالملوك والعالم والحكام ورؤساء الدول والوزراء. فتم إفراد قاعة خاصة فيها الهدايا الرسمية الرمزية التي أهديت لصاحب السمو. وكان مؤخرا لو نجده في الصورة ممكن تشوفونها، هي الميدالية ميدالية الشيخ زايد اللي تم إهداها له صاحب السمو الشيخ خليفة بن زايد في العام الماضي في اليوم الوطني. أيضا عندنا الوثائق التشكيلية، منها المسكوكات التي تم استخدامها في منطقة الخليج العربي، وهي مسكوكات نادرة جدا حصل عليها صاحب السمو من يعني هو صاحب السمو من جامع التراث والآثار، فما شاء الله عليه حصل عليهم ووضعت في الدارة. أيضا هناك بعض الوثائق التشكيلية مثل المراكب التي عملت بشكل خاص للدارة، ومنها نادر اللي تم عمله أو اللي جابت منطقة الخليج، فهذا جانب منها. هذا الجانب العربي، هذا يعتبر يسمى السنبوب، واللي في الجانب الثاني يسمى البغلة. فهذه من موجودات الدارة. أيضا في عندنا الجلوب اللي تلاحظونها في اليمين، هي من الجلوب النادرة جدا، يفوق يعني عمرها 250 سنة. نتطرق أيضا إلى المخطوطات والكتب والرسائل. هناك الكثير عندنا من المخطوطات موجودة في الدارة، تم حفظها بطريقة علمية صحيحة. كل الأشياء تؤخذ إلى العرض بعد ما يكون في هناك عملية ترميم وحفظ على أساس أنها تكون دائمة للمستقبل. هناك قاعة الأفلام الوثائقية. نحن في الدارة يمكن نكون المكان الوحيد اللي في المنطقة اللي حفظنا فيه تاريخ منطقة الخليج عن طريق الأفلام. لن تجد هذه الأفلام موجودة ومعروضة في أي مكان في العالم وميسرة للجمهور إلا في الدارة. فنجد هناك الأفلام الوثائقية وقسمت على حسب دول منطقة الخليج وتاريخيا. فأنت كل ما يعمل الشخص هو أنه يختار الدولة اللي يحتاج أنه يبحث عنها، وبعدين يبتدي يبحث عن التاريخ. هناك تايم لاين عندنا في البحث عن الوثائق بالسنوات، فيبحث الشخص عن السنوات ويقدر يستمع ويطلع على الأفلام. هذا بالإضافة إن الفيلم يقدر أنه يسمع المعروض ويقدر أنه يكتب كل شيء موجود في البحث. فهذه الأفلام تعتبر أفلام نادرة عن منطقة الخليج، ويفوق عددها 1700 فيلم وثائقي، أيضا كلها موثقة ومحفوظة بطريقة صحيحة وعلمية. في عندنا المكتبة الأرشيفية. طبعا نحن نتكلم عن أرشيف وكيف نحفظ الأشياء، فكانت يعني من الأشياء المهمة أن احنا كيف نحفظ هذا الأرشيف. فتم حفظ بأسلوب تقني حديث من تقنية البحث. في هناك تقريبا 1.5 مليون وثيقة إلى الآن محفوظة على الكمبيوتر، وكلها الوثائق تختص بتاريخ منطقة الخليج. طبعا عملية البحث سهلة جدا وكلها استخدام بالأجهزة الحاسوب وأيضا بطريقة اللمس، فما عليك إلا أنك تختار المنطقة اللي أنت تبغي تبحث عنها، وبعدين أو نوع الأركايف اللي أنت تبحث عنه في التاريخ، وبعدين بإمكانك أنك تضع أحرف البحث. يعني نحن عندنا بالريسيرش أو بالنمبر، في بعض الوثائق مكتوب عليها نمبرز، أرقام، فبإمكانك استخدامها. بعد ما تضع يطلع الرقم أو البحث، تجد عندك الكثير من الأشياء اللي تأتي، فأنت تختار الديسكريبشن اللي يناسب بحثك فتبتدي تبحث فيها. طبعا البحث هي عبارة عن مخطوطات نادرة لمنطقة الخليج، فيبحث الإنسان يقدر يصور عنها إذا هو شاء، ولكنها هي تعتبر من الموجودات الخاصة بالدارة اللي صعب أن نحن نعطي صور عنها، ولكن يقرأ الباحث ويستفيد منها قدر الإمكان. وأيضا وفرنا بعض عملية في إنترنت موجود في الموقع كامل لكل الزوار الدارة، على أساس أنه يقدر يستفيد منه ويرسل ويستقبل إيميلاته أثناء وجوده في الدارة. أيضا بإمكانه يتصفح عن قرب، يعني يكبر زوم إن وزوم أوت، موجود في كل الفاسيلتي اللي موجود عنده. أيضا نحن استفدنا من أجهزة الكمبيوتر، وثقنا عملية دوكيومنتيشن كاملة لكل الخرائط اللي موجودة ومعروضة في الدارة. ما عليه إلا يأخذ الرقم اللي موجود بجانب هذه الخارطة اللي موجود في العرض ويستفيد منه، يقرأ أكثر معلومات اللي هو حاب أن يطلع عليهم. وفي أيضا كتيب إرشادي للباحثين. طبعا عملية الأرشفة مهمة جدا للمستقبل. نحن عملنا على تجربة، وثقنا آلاف من الصور الخاصة بالدارة، وتم وضعها على أجهزة الحاسوب خاصة فينا، وقد نساعد بعض المؤسسات اللي محتاجة بعض الصور واللي يتطرق إليها زميلي قبل قليل. طبعا هذه الصور خاصة بالدارة على حسب الظرف أو المؤسسة. في مؤسسات بحثية تبحث عن بعض الصور المؤسسة، فأنا نساعدها يعني. بالنسبة للحفاظ على محتويات الدارة، حقيقة تكلموا كثير من الزملاء أمس واليوم عن الأرشفة وعن الأماكن، وعن أن يكون عندهم مشكلة بالنسبة للتخزين. وهذه أنا أقول هذه المشكلة مشكلة عامة لكل الباحثين أو اللي عندهم مؤسسات أرشيفية. حقيقة نحن اتخذنا بعض التدابير المهمة جدا للحفاظ عليها. أول شيء استخدمنا ملطفات هواء أو مكيفات خاصة نحفظ فيها درجة الحرارة والرطوبة على مدار العام. طبعا هذه الأجهزة ما حد يقدر يستخدمها، أو لا يكون هناك دخول لها من أي شخص عدا الشخص المخول. هناك رقم خاص أو باسورد عفوا يدخل عليه التقني الخاص ويبتدي يحط درجة الحرارة المطلوبة والرطوبة المطلوبة. أيضا تم استخدام مصابيح إضاءة جديدة اللي هي ليد للإضافة، يعني على أساس أنها ما يكون فيها أي نوع من الحرارة. وفي نفس الوقت نحن أضفنا أجهزة استشعار دائمة للقاعات على أساس نحافظ على هذه الأشياء الثمينة. أيضا المعالجة هي دائما معالجة دائمة ومستمرة لكل محتويات الدارة من الأشياء المهمة حتى لا تبلى، وهذا على مدار العام. طبعا مثل ما تفضل استخدمنا الإضاءة الحديثة اللي هي LED، استهلاكها أقل، ما فيها درجة حرارة، لا تسبب أي نوع من الضرر للمخطوطات والوثائق، لأن مهم جدا الوثائق والأشياء تحفظ في مكان بعيد عن الحرارة والإضاءة. هذا جانب من القاعة والمعروضات. طبعا هذه الصورة توضح لنا كيف نحن استخدمنا التكنولوجيا الحديثة أو الإضاءة والسنسر والإضاءة بحيث أن نحافظ على القاعات. نجد أن في الصورة اللي في اليمين هذه القاعة ما فيها حد حاليا، بمجرد ما يدخل الزائر للقاعة تضيء القاعة بشكل كامل وعن طريق أجهزة التحسس، وبعدين بعد دقائق معدودة ترجع مثل ما هي للحفاظ على المعروض، لأن المعروض في الحقيقة ثمين جدا. أيضا استخدام بعض الخزانات الخاصة المفرغة من الهواء أو فيها نسبة قليلة جدا بحيث أن ما تضر أي شيء معروض. في النهاية نحن دائما نعمل على هذا الشيء، وبشكل دائم نعمل للحفاظ على الماضي من خلال ما هو ملموس لدينا حاضرا للمستقبل. هذا نضع دائما يعني أمامنا في أي عمل نقوم فيه في الدارة، والسبب أن هذه الأشياء يجب أن تظل للمستقبل. ودائما نحن حتى الموظفين الجدد وغيرها نفهمهم أن نحن في مكان أرشيف، والأرشيف يتطلب عمل معين للحفاظ عليه، والحمد لله يعني نجحنا إلى حد ما وأصبحنا متميزين في المنطقة بالأشياء المعروضة واللي نقدمها للباحثين. أرجو أن ما نكون طولنا عليكم، وشكرا لحسن استماعكم وشكرا جزيلا.
شكرا خالد. Are there any questions for Mr. Ali? I have one question.
Go ahead.
ممكن أسألها بالعربي إذا ممكن.
تفضل.
المخططات وكل التراث اللي عندكم إياه، أنا شفت إنه في جزء منه حولتوه لأرشيف إلكتروني. هل عندكم مخطط تحولوهم كلهم لأرشيف إلكتروني؟
في الحقيقة سؤالك جميل، بس أنا أبغي أقول لك أن تم تحويل كل شيء إلى إلكتروني.
أوكي، يعني كله محفوظ إلكتروني.
كله إلكتروني ومحفوظ.
تمام.
نعم كله.
Thank you.
شكرا.
Any other questions? شكرا خالي.
شكرا بارك.
All right. Our next speaker is Jurgen Loos, who is the Director of Sales from BFE Germany. Please welcome Jurgen.
The first button is where? The first button is where? Ah, yeah. This is okay. Hassan, thank you very much for the introduction, and also thank you for the very nice reminder in regard to the shift to wintertime this morning. I just called Tom a few minutes before you did it. Yeah, well, I'm one of the guys who is standing between you and the lunch break, and even worse, between you and the next crisis. But nevertheless, I would like to take you on a little journey to what we believe is a best practice approach conducted by MBC Dubai into selecting and implementing an enterprise-wide media asset management solution. Actually, in regard to MBC, you got a very comprehensive insight into the organization from a much better source than I can be, from Sam Barnett, the CEO himself. So I'm going a bit quicker on that, coming briefly to our operations, which is headquartered, as Hassan already indicated, in Germany, Mainz, close to Frankfurt, a company which has been founded in 1971, roughly 42, 43 years old, 250 guys, and we are very much into building any kind of broadcasting infrastructure, studio build, MCR build, and which is even more important for such kind of project I'm introducing you to. The broadcast IT-related pieces, which are very often introduced by a consultancy phase, defining workflows and pre-project activities. I think it's not difficult to convince you that content, and especially digitized content, is number one in any kind of broadcasting or media business. And especially, I think utilizing this existing content as best as possible is supported by what we call going tapeless, means introducing complete new workflows into media organizations. And this is one of the aspects why I named the presentation. It's more than just technology. It's very much about people, because people have to change their ways of working, the ways of interacting with each other. And this is very much about the human aspect of successfully introducing and implementing this kind of projects in an organization. For example, NBC, there are working people coming from more than 40 nations, coming from several cultural backgrounds. And even if you don't have that in your organization, you will find that someone in a library communicates or behaves a bit different to other creative people sitting in the editorial department, or the bloody technicians or technologists, which are very convinced about that they are the greatest guys on earth and knows everything about broadcasting or media business and how to do it best. In terms of the challenge, I just try to already point out that you have to some kind of course, enabling technology, and that's actually about technology. It's an enabler, but nothing more, to bring your operation or your organization as a media organization on the next step in utilizing this as best as possible, in addressing the needs the markets are providing, especially, I think, in this region, due to deregulation. We see a huge increasing number of channels. Digitization of distribution enables us to deliver much more channels digitized via satellite transponders than we could do that in the past. And especially, I think the potential which is in reusing existing content we're having in our libraries, besides the efficient digitization and use of actual acquired content, is one of the key aspects for having success. If we talk about this tapeless approach and the digitization of content and new ways of working, I think we have to recognize that this kind of technology, what we here call the media asset management system, is a very central and core part of operation, which is used by all the relevant players within your broadcasting organization. The guys sitting in the library, the graphics, the online edit suites, the dubbing guys, the on-air graphics, mean several aspects, several competencies you need along your process, from ingesting the content to play out that either on linear television or to bring that to your media offerings. And the system or the infrastructure should facilitate this process as best as possible. And process is already a key word, which is very, very key at the beginning of your project, that you think about how does my new way of work look like? Because as I said earlier, the new way going tapeless will look totally different than you did it, well, we did it for the last 20, 30 or 40 years. For example, the physical asset, the video is not longer physical, represented by a tape. It's just an immaterial asset. And I think Peter Thomas from FIAT pointed that out very correctly. It's about making clear where the asset is in your production process and why the asset is there. And this is a very, very big shift in the mindset of many people who are used to have this asset physically in their hands. Changing people is very much, or changing the ways of working is very much about fear people are feeling when they see big changes coming through to them. And for example, this lady, let's say she's working in a library. She knows, okay, I have a computer, I will get another system which will change the way of working significantly. And the first thought is very often, this technology is very complex, symbolized by this little graphic on the right upper side of the slide. And if people feel that this complexity is generating fear on their side, I think you have the first issue you would have to overcome in your project. Trying to get the people on board right from the beginning of the process in making them understanding what benefits the new way of working is bringing to them. And if we talk about benefits, the benefits are not necessarily just within a library. I think they have to be defined or seen in a way that it is about benefit for the complete operation, and that means also the interaction between departments will change, and that has to. And the foundation for that is that these people involved in that have to have an understanding about the needs and requirements of colleagues in other departments, and the complete process. I can give you a very nice example of a continental European public private broadcasting network, and they had a internal service provider, which they still have, and this internal service provider was providing production services to the channels, means the creative people. And the way that works internally is that this internal client to the production guys, the channels, they were the very much the most demanding client you can ever think about. People who came up on very, very last minutes with tasks which could have been done much earlier. For example, promo production. They could have done that 3, 4, 5, even 2 weeks or 2 months prior to transmission. What happened? They delivered the input on the very last second, generating a huge stress on the side of the internal production organization, because they said, okay, we are your client, you have to facilitate whatever we would like to see from you, and it doesn't matter what I can do on my side in order to smoothen the complete process. That's another example that you have, there is a strong need for getting the complete organization at your table, and to make a complete and joint team when you approach, create a joint team when you approach this kind of project. And as already indicated, so this kind of activity, it's about people, it's about processes, workflows, how people are interacting with each other, and this is of course facilitated or enabled by technology. I think you should be clear about the differences between these layers. If you talk about people in a media or broadcasting organization, for example, if you go to a library or to an editor and ask the people, what are you doing in your daily work for the last 5, 10 or 15 years, you see that these people are really excellent experts in professional people, in the way how they are performing their daily task. But they can't necessarily communicate to you in a structured way what they are doing exactly. I mean, in a structured way, what do I get from where, what do I do with it, what is the outcome of my concrete task. And that makes it difficult to communicate that into the wider organization, as I said earlier, to make that transparent to other departments in the organization, to make them understanding what the colleagues are providing to the overall process. And therefore, to gain a common understanding about this is a very crucial activity. And therefore, at the very first beginning of setting up the project, is creating some kind of workflow description. And if I say workflow description, I'm not saying that you have to decorate the walls of your facility or that you have to create tons of paper. You have to do it in a structured way, but you have to do it in a way which can be used by the people involved into the project. And the use of this documentation is along the complete life cycle of the project. So it's not done just once. It's used through the complete project. I would call that a repetitive circle, because you do that at the beginning, because this is the basis for defining your requirements to technology. You have to be clear about what would you like to do, what has the technology support, before you can make a decision which kind of technology is the right one for you. And you should define that very properly when you or your organization is going to the market and looking for the right solutions. Then you will receive bids. If you have done the specification before, the bids will be comparable, which is a very nice thing to have, because you should compare apples with apples and not apples with something else. And then I think you make the right choice, because having a good specification increases the chance of getting good and very detailed bids and offers. Then after the selection process, of course, you have a detailed design specification, which is very much depending on the solution you have selected. You have a commissioning and test phase. And even before that, for example, you are conducting a proof of concept before you make the final decision, which technology are you adopting. And even for the proof of concept, you have to take your people on board. You have to train them, because they have to be part of the proof of concept. You are defining 1, 2, 3, 4 use cases, which are again based on workflows that your people are using the technology which is provided through the use of concept. So again, the documented workflow is again the basis for this very useful exercise. Then you have training, you have different concepts, train the trainer after having identified the key users. And here again, the workflow is the key for this activity. You have acceptance tests. Again, you have more use cases you have to facilitate. Then you have, of course, operation systems, making the optimization of the project. And along this process, the workflow, the description, what to do with the system is key. And in reality, you will see a change. The workflows are developed further. And it's also important to document this change along the complete life cycle of the project. And to be honest with you, post-implementation is pre-implementation. You will see a further development, and again, this has to be supported by a continued documentation of these workflows. Along this process, then a third partner joined the project, the colleagues from Dalet, a French-based software company, who then provided the solution, which was pre-qualified and selected as the best solution fitting to the requirements defined by MBC and defined by us, BFE, based on the together defined workflows. And this is just giving you some kind of idea about the most relevant parts where we did this process documentation in the planning, in the ingest, in the import, in the transmission, the outgest, in the archive and restore area. So this is just some rough overview, but this is giving you an indication about the complexity of the overall operation, where you have where you should have, of course, full transparency in regard how those different areas are working as seamlessly as possible together. So, key message: engage your people and do that right from the beginning. Tell them what is the project about. Don't feel fear. Make them part of the process. Tell them that the ways of working will change, but tell them the background of the idea you're having is not necessarily reducing the number of staff. It's potentially more about enhancing activity, more reuse of content, more channels you have to facilitate, most likely with the same number of people you have before. Try to get the people on board, make them part of the decision-making process. And based on our experience, this approach has to be supported from the top. Your management has to support this and has to support also the communication within your broadcasting or media corporation. Because without the people, the project can't be a success, and the technology can be as brilliant as you might imagine. If it is not used properly and if it is not accepted by your colleagues, it's just a waste of time and money. In order to summarize the complete approach, which actually has started end of 2010, and at that time we were quite honored that we were selected by MBC, because that was even before we started our Middle East operations, was that MBC came out with an RFP for a system integrator, because they felt they need support in identifying the requirements they are having, and in making sure that the process is facilitated in the right way. Then the SI has been selected shortly after this RFP. Next thing was then the RFP for the media asset management solution provider. And I'm talking here about a very comprehensive document that was 70 pages containing all the relevant functional and non-functional requirements. And again, this was based on a common understanding what are our requirements based on the workflows we have defined together prior to this activity. So this was a very, very detailed and comprehensive document which led to the reception of very, very good and very, very comparable offers from the software vendors. So this investment here at that stage in time, it's a very valuable investment. And as I indicated before, part of the evaluation and selection process, there was a proof of concept conducted. Well, to some extent, I'm a technologist as well, but even in our area, sometimes the PowerPoints are extremely nice and not showing necessarily the reality of the real product itself. So we said it's a valuable exercise to conduct this proof of concept. So 2 short-selected vendors were invited to the premises of MBC here in Dubai and to prove what they have promised in their PowerPoint slides and what they have promised in the offers to the client. And this exercise took 2 weeks. 2 weeks of preparation and 2 weeks of on-site testing. And they had to show also already interfacing to existing systems, because you're not going to build that on the green field. We had interfaces to the program planning system, to the archiving system, and the vendors had already to show how the interfaces between their solution and their existing systems would look like. And again, here also the users, the future users of MBC were involved. We defined 3, 4, 5 use cases, and the people were sitting on their computers using these 2 applications at that stage and testing their use cases what they had defined before is delivered by the application. And this brought to a very, again, comprehensive evaluation matrix. Everyone was involved, everyone had a vote, had an opinion, and this was the basis then for selecting the solution, which then, I mentioned that already before, comes from our French colleagues from Dalit. So the benefit was we reduced risk. We reduced risk for the client, we reduced the risk for us as system integrator, we reduced the risk for also the vendor, because it was clear that it can be delivered what is expected and clearly expressed by MBC, the client. As already outlined before, then there was a very detailed phase of doing a detailed solution design. how the single parts of the solution is interacting with the existing parts, and how it is configured and customized in order to meet all the defined requirements which has been defined. Again, the proof of concept was just an extract of all the delivered functionality. Then implementation, testing, and training. So what are the key messages? The key messages are technology is not the key, it's just an enabler. Make sure that you bring your people on board, make them part of the process, but this is the major precondition that your organization is working in the new way as efficient as possible. This was the very quick intro or insight into what we call and what we believe is a best practice approach, how to select and implement a MAM solution conducted by MBC, Middle East Broadcasting Corporation, here in Dubai, supported by BFE and Dalit. Thank you for your attention.
Jurgen, thank you very much. Thank you, that's excellent. Any questions for Jurgen? Everything is crystal clear? Looks like it.
Seems to be the case.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Before our next speaker, we have Dorothy has very kindly provided a small video, a 4-minute video of certain outtakes that have happened for MBC reporters and correspondents. I think you'll appreciate what I'm talking about.
Shit, man!
أنا بدي أدرس أنا طوال ما تخليه ينظر لنا ناوي انتظر
لكن فلنلقي نظرة على سباق الهند مع زميلنا عمرو.
مزيد من التفاصيل مع نبيل الخطيب من القدس المحتلة. حمدا معتز عفوا خالد وأنا عصام عبد الله نستودعكم إلى النشرة الثانية. إلى اللقاء.
إلى اللقاء.
ونستودعكم الله إلى لقاء آخر يشارككم فيها الزميل محفوظ بن حفري. إلى اللقاء.
لا شك أن حبوب فياغرا الأمريكية لعلاج الضعف الجنسي قد أثارت الاهتمام في أنحاء العالم، لكن بنجامين نتنياهو عفوا خطأ كبير بنجامين سامسون وهو صيدلاني من الفلبين يقول إنه أنتج عقارا طب تعمل لي تيرن برجع هيك بقول
Yeah? I can't see anything. Shit, man.
Look at the camera. The camera is here. في الدوري الصيني لكرة القدم احتفل مشجعو كينغ داو هانيو بفوز فريقهم على ضيفهم جيان تان شان بهدف مقابل لا شيء.
بقاء هذه الغازات في طبق هذه فقط.
ايوه في قلبي. يا جلدوا عيوني يا ماما. روبي كنت روبي.
فالقصر لا يزال شامخا تعبيرا عن مواصلة الشيشانيين لكفاحهم ضد الوجود الروسي.
مشاهدينا الكرام مساء الخير. يعلق كثيرون آمالا كبيرة على السنة الجديدة 1995 متوقعين أن تكون سنة سلام وسنة تهدئة الصراعات المتأججة في غير منطقة من العالم ولا سيما في الشرق الأوسط وفي جمهوريات الاتحاد السوفيتي السابق وفي القارة الإفريقية.
فيما نال المجري إمري برونزية المسابقة وما زلنا ننتظر عرض الشرائط. وما زلنا ننتظر عرض الشرائط.
محمد فؤاد MBC لندن. محمد فؤاد MBC لندن.
I think that's it. No, we should stop. All right. Our next speaker is Mr. Mohamaed Al-Shahi. Mr. Mohamaed Al-Shahi is Deputy CEO of Dubai Media Inc. Please welcome Mr. Mohamaed Al-Shahi.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I would like to start by introducing myself. My name is Mohammed Saeed Al-Shahi. I am the Deputy CEO of Dubai Media Incorporated for TV and radio. Well, basically, I will start off by thanking FIAT IFTA for hosting the conference for the first time in the Middle East and Dubai. Being an Emirati, I'm very privileged and pleased and honored to have this conference for the very first time in the Middle East and Dubai. And this goes well with the vision of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, who wanted to create a media hub and an ICT hub in Dubai for the Middle East. So full credit to the team who worked hard to bring in the conference to Dubai. And on the top of the team is Dorothy from Al Arabiya and NBC. I would like to thank her personally for that. Well, I will start by giving you an introduction about Dubai Media Incorporated. Dubai Media Incorporated is basically the government arm of Dubai, the media arm of Dubai government. It was started or established in 1974 by launching one color TV channel. And then, the evolution happened and the company evolved. Today, we have 6 brands or 6 different TV channels. We have several FM stations, and we have 4 different newspapers. 2 of them are digital, and 2 of them are paper newspapers. And if we talk about DMI and its positioning in the Middle East in terms of a media company, it's an integrated media company. And if we are compared to government entities, we are always in the lead or ranked in the second place. So I'll talk about the TV channels. We are always ranked number 1 compared to government TV channels. And this is based on focus groups, based on reports from Ipsos and from other sources. And if we talk about radio stations in United Arab Emirates, our radio stations are always there in the top 3. We have Noor Dubai, which is basically today morning I got the report that it was ranked number 1 in United Arab Emirates in terms of listenership. And if we talk about the newspaper, Al Bayan, our newspaper, is ranked among the top 2 newspapers, and Imarat Al Yom as well. It's ranked among the top 5 newspapers in UAE. Well, this is what happened over the past 40 years. What is for the future? The future, the board have decided to invest in digital media and look into digital media. We would like to prepare ourselves for the future and for the next generation. If we look at our kids and we look at the younger generations today, we don't see quite often of them watching TV or reading newspaper. They are always on their pads, always on their iPhones and smartphones. So basically, we want to prepare ourselves to be ready for that. And we want to invest in the digital media. And if we would like to go to digital media, we want to bring in some of the, of the legacy or some of the very valuable content that we have from 1964 and 1968 and 1974. Today, it is stored in 2-inch tapes, 1-inch tapes, and pneumatic tapes, which are stored in some stores in our facility, and it is not used basically as a digital material. So basically, as I said, DMI is a 35-plus-year-old media organization. We have more than 500,000 hours of content as DMI. One of the largest archives in the Middle East. We have some content which is before even the inception of Dubai Media, which was brought in from Kuwait and from Bahrain, which we have. So basically, last year or 1.5 years ago, we decided, and it's time now to digitize our content and look at it and try to basically make this content available digitally for people. Online, on TV, on HD, basically we wanted people to use that content and leverage it. And the debate happened, whether to do that in-house and invest in all the equipments and the systems and the human resources and the metadata and all of that, or to outsource it to special companies, to companies which are specialized in archiving and restoring those materials. Just to give you a feedback about what type or what format we have, I think, around 45,000 hours of material in 2-inch and 1-inch. And we have quite often a good amount of material in cinema, and we have it on pneumatic, and then we have the digital Betacam and the rest. So 1.5 years ago, we were talking and discussing whether we outsource this, we tender an RFP and look at companies to come and set up here and do it for us, or we do it ourselves, and invest in the equipment, invest in the systems, and get the human resources, and start an archive center or a digitization center in DMI, and we have the capability to do that. So what we have decided to do, the first step is to know what we have. We have this content, but nobody knows what is this content. Are they series? Are they news? Are they sports? And how can we categorize them? So we decided to go and look at all the material that we have and categorize them in terms of priority. We said priority 1 will be given to the material which is related to our country and our rulers. Basically, the materials which involved the inception of United Arab Emirates, the materials around the rulers of United Arab Emirates, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and those will be prioritized in P1 because they have the history of the country, which we need to preserve, which we need to save and to keep for the next generations. And then priority 2 will be given to the rest of the material, the sport games, the series, and the rest of the materials which were recorded in United Arab Emirates. And priority 3 will be given to the material which we basically acquired and we have the rights, or we don't have the rights for, just to keep it digitally available and we can buy the rights for it later. So those are the three different tiers that we have created for the material. And I remember this happened around more than 18 months ago. And till today, we are still counting and viewing our material and trying to prioritize them. We faced another problem. Some of the series, you would definitely know the celebrities or know the people who did it. But when you go to news, you will not know or recognize, this is 40 years after taking those pictures, the people, some of us will not recognize the people who were there in the news or were sitting or were taking decisions. So we decided to get people who were from those era to come and help us write the metadata for those materials. So basically, we decided to prioritize, put the metadata right, and then we will decide or make a decision whether we go for a full outsource solution or whether we do it partially or do it fully in-house. And the decision was we will have a small center in-house for the very sensitive information and content that we have, and the rest we will outsource. Hopefully, by the beginning of 2014, we'll start to outsource those material. And I personally met a couple of companies in India, and even a company came from Germany and from America to see what we can do. And some of the models were based on setting up here, bringing the equipment, the human resources, and setting up here. And some of them of the models is shipping up the 2-inch and 1-inch material to them, and they digitize it and bring it back to us. But all of this, I think an RFP will be tendered by the team and to be sent to everyone to look at it and discuss it. As I said, the importance of efficient archiving. When we sat together and decided to do all of this, we thought there is a big importance in these, in the material or the legacy material that we have. First, it preserves the history of our country. It preserves the history of the media organization we work at. All the newspapers, I'm not talking about TV here, I'm talking about TV, audio, and newspaper. All the newspapers, we need to to archive those in digital format. The audio as well. We have a lot of the audio materials, and I like to give this example. And so we took one tape from one of the boxes, and we played it. And it had, some very valuable material. It had a speech for His Highness Sheikh Rashid bin Saeed Al Maktoum, inaugurating some of the functions in Dubai, and it has a speech of President Jamal Abdel Nasser of Egypt. So there are very, very important material in those tapes which preserve the history of the country and of the region as well. So that is an important thing that we looked at in the first place. The second thing is we are going digital media, so we want that material to be available to the next generation and to our kids and for the future. So basically they can see it and they can follow it. And then, the other thing, that digital archive ensure content stored today remains available in the future. The platform is unified across the different providers. The metadata is available. If people want to create a search engine around it, they can create it easily, and they can search for people, games, football games, or sport events or inauguration events. All of that can be utilized. And I hope one day we'll reach to a place where we'll have all our materials in a digital format, in a nice digital archive library. I hope we'll reach that. One day we'll reach, maybe not my time or during my time, we'll reach that, where we will, get rid of all of the old, 2-inch, 1-inch material that we have today and taking a lot of space in our facilities. طبعا, few things that we look at for efficient archiving. If we decided to do it ourselves, we have to purchase the initial system. Then we have to look at the incremental cost for, expanding the system, operating and maintenance cost, upgrading and replacing aging equipment. I gave you the example or the decision of building a small archiving center for the sensitive material. And believe me, the headache we went through to get some of the spare parts from America or Canada or India just to fix some of the 1-inch machine, 2-inch machines that we have is unbelievable. Contacting people, finding boards and pieces and equipments from all over the place is a big headache. And then finding people who can operate them and maintaining them. So we found, that small center was a headache for us. But these are some of the parameters for efficient archiving. Again, for efficient archiving, some important parameters for calculating the efficiency of archiving is the capacity, the performance, reliability, all of that, and the cost, definitely. So when we look at companies, we need to see how much they can do and they can deliver the performance and the reliability, the quality of the picture, and then the cost of delivering those material to us. And we are very flexible. We'd love to have that, if we decided and we gave a company the tender, I'd love to have that company coming and setting up in Dubai, and we'll provide them with the space facility, which will be doing it in front of or under our supervision. Importance of strong archive and efficient team. As I said, the system is something, but again, then there is the human or the operating part of it. You need to have a trained team, you have to have an efficient team, you need to have people who can maintain the systems, people who can put the metadata, people, it's a very long process to do, and operationally it's very difficult. It's worth mentioning here that I visited Abu Dhabi Media Archive Center in Abu Dhabi, and if you guys have the time to go and see it, I think it's one of the best facilities I've ever seen. It has a lot of the new scanners for cinema and for the 2-inch and the restoration material, and they have a huge facility for that. So they were, we will approach them to look at, outsource some of our material to them, since they are in Abu Dhabi and since they are a local company that we'd like to support as well. Procedure and techniques for archive. طبعا not only the system of the team, but also the right procedure involved archiving the equally important. So having the right metadata, having the right information. If you archive material or digital or you transfer a material from an analog tape to a digital tape, without the information, it is useless. When you come and search for the material without the information that will enable you to search well, it is useless. You need to know who are these people who were talking, who were visiting, who were signing. So you need to have the metadata and signing what and all of that. So metadata is very important, something that, as I said, we hired few people to look at some of the material that we are currently archiving in our digital archiving in our facility. Rules of archiving, I'm sure people here are more expert than me in this field, but these are all things that we took into consideration before deciding where to go with our archive. And last, by no means least, we don't want to repeat what happened to the BBC. They invested so much in transferring their archive into a digital archive, but they were unfortunately not successful in that. So that's basically what we wanted to avoid. Basically that's it. I wanted to be here from a broadcaster perspective, tell you a bit about our situation, where we are today, and what is our plans in terms of archives. We have a huge archive, and we have plans basically to digitize it. And I would like to thank you for being here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mohammed. Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Mohammed Al-Shahi? No? Obviously, your message was very clear.
Thank you.
All right. I think we're a bit early, but that's fine. We're never early to go for an early lunch, so I think we can take off for lunch. We need to be back here by 2 o'clock, so in a little bit over 1 hour. And again, I remind you that as soon as everybody is back in the room, we will do another draw for some more gifts. So please enjoy lunch, and we'll see you after lunch.
Is a special cell phone because it comes preloaded with telephone numbers, credit card information, and all sorts of other things. In fact, it already belongs to somebody. So if you have lost your cell phone, Please let me know. Dorothy, are you going to do the magic draws? Okay, Dorothy's pulling the numbers out. What color socks are you wearing, Dorothy? Okay. She said, "Here you go, guys, good luck." And the numbers, I need to put my glasses on, Dorothy. 377. Come, who's got 377? Come.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't I promise you I'd pull your number out? Thank God it was Dorothy that did it.
Yes.
You're looking. Okay. Here's this one. You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
What if I show it to you that way up?
It's 6.
Okay. Six. 6. Anybody with 6? Which one is this?
The top one. Yes.
Okay.
The top. So we need to get her. Yeah. Can we have it, please?
377. Oh, you need to give it. Yes.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So here we go. This is a dinner voucher for 2 people at Atlantis. There you go. Well done.
Thank you so
Congratulations.
much.
Oh, yeah. They want our picture. There you go. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. What was your number? I'm looking for it. It's not this one though. This is number 16. Number 16. No screams of joyous activity? No? Nobody has number 16. Okay. So who's got number 108?
Yes, 108.
Where? Okay. $108. I'm told you're from Poland, is that correct? Here you go. Well, this gift is specially designed for people from Poland. It's a spa gift from the Address Hotel. A spa gift. There you go. Thank you very much. I think they want to take our photo again.
Okay.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
Okay. 108, yeah. Okay. There's both of them. Okay, 50, number 50. Oh, yes. Now, this is the way to do it. Some kind of enthusiastic applause as your number is called. It's a great way of doing it. And while you're coming up, I'm going to pull out the next. Dorothy's giving me the next number. $301. Number 50. Here you go. What would you like? Let's give you a great prize. Okay, this one does not look like a Ferrari. This one is a mini iPad. Sponsored by MGI, Media Group International. There you go, well done. Do you want a picture as well? I don't think we need a picture with everybody, but there you go. Okay. You can. No, well, which one? Have you just pulled this one out? Was I? What's my number? I don't know. I know. 301. 301. Rapturous applause for 301. Okay, the person is not here. Number 318.
318, 318.
Still no applause. If you don't respond quickly, we move on to the next one, which is this a hand up that's waving?
No, I don't think so.
Well, it is, but I don't think he won the prize. Number 492. 492.
492, 492. No. No, yes.
Oh,
yes, we have a winner. We have a winner.
Okay. And whilst he's coming up, 252. 252, anybody?
Which one?
49. This is 252, right?
No.
318.
Yes.
You took your time getting here. Okay, 318. There you go.
Yeah.
You get a painting by Nabil.
Oh, Nabil, I know him.
You know him?
Of
Oh,
course.
there you go. From a friend.
Thank you.
Okay. Here you go. Okay, oh, picture. Here you go.
Thank you.
Hold on, let's do this a bit more manly. Did you get it?
Last one. Last one.
293.
293 293. No.
293, no. 152.
152 152. No.
No. 199.
199 199.
428.
428 Kevin's age. 428.
Okay.
Last one.
I was going to say 265 just to upset her. 138.
138 my age.
138, here he
Oh,
comes.
yes.
Hey.
138.
So what does this say?
This
No,
is the
that's-
book.
The book by Francis Matthew.
Oh, okay. So this is the book by Francis Matthew, Golf News. Here you go.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Well
much.
done. There you go. I think I want our picture.
We should get his number.
Okay.
Kevin, we should get your number. Can we have your number, please? No, 138. 138. Yes.
Did not
Thank you.
get it. Oh.
That's it.
Then he could have won twice.
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you want me to just give me the book? Okay, so now we have, where did Michael go? Here we, sorry. Our next presentation, keynote by Michael Edson, Director of Web and New Media Strategy at Smithsonian Institute. I'm sure there's a lot more that you could share. I'll leave you to do it.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And sorry, I've just been given an announcement. Is it Carlos Hernandez was scheduled to deliver a presentation tomorrow on the digitization project at RTVE. His presentation will now be held at 4:30 this afternoon in the Jabba room. So if anybody was planning on attending that particular presentation tomorrow, it's been rescheduled. It is now taking place at 4:30 this afternoon in the Jabba room.
Okay, shall I start? Lovely. Hi, everyone. I will try and speak slowly and clearly for our gallant ladies and gentlemen doing the real-time translation. I get a little excited, so if I go too fast, wave your arms. And it's wonderful to follow a raffle. And I was sitting there thinking about the raffle. 1 ticket, 1 prize. That's all there is. Many of you know I'm a great advocate for open content. And the great thing about open content is everybody gets the prize. Every time you get the prize, you take the prize, there's another prize there, and they never run out. So, on that note, I've been thinking a lot about scope, scale, and speed. Scope is what we choose to work on, and we have choices. We don't have to do what we did yesterday or the day before. Scale is how big that work is, and speed is the pace at which we move. And I think that the world has changed foundationally, fundamentally, in exactly these three ways. But most people haven't noticed. Most organizations haven't noticed. And scope, scale, and speed are confusing. Particularly scale itself is a very difficult idea. And to make the idea that I want to make, to force the points that I want to make over the next half hour or so, I'm going to need to add some ballast, some foundation on it, some facts. So let me start by adding the ballast. And that is by asking a question: what exactly are we doing here? What are we trying to accomplish? Not just here at the Burj or here at this conference, but here on this planet, this wet, cold rock hurtling through the vast emptiness of space. What are we trying to accomplish? And it strikes me that most of the places that you work are service organizations, public service organizations with highly relevant and active social missions. I picked up one mission from an institution I'm familiar with, the Building Khulud in the Netherlands, and their vision for their role in society includes something called media wisdom. They say the whole of knowledge, skills, and the mentality that citizens use to consciously, critically, and actively take part in a complex, changing, and fundamentally mediatized world. That's about mission. That's about civic impact. And as I watched your awards ceremony last night, it was very clear to me that the things you're celebrating are not about how many film canisters you keep dry, how many things you pack on your shelves, but what you let loose into the world and the impact that those things have. And this is a moment in the world when we need all the civic impact we can possibly get. 1 in 3 Americans can neither name a single member of their Supreme Court or identify the basic concepts of scientific reasoning. 1 in 3. 25% of the American population have no friends, and they have no emotional ties to anyone in their communities. 75% of Americans don't know their next-door neighbors. 19% of Americans did not read a book last year